So with The Amazing Spider-Man 2 coming out this weekend, I thought this would be a great time to talk about the first one, The Amazing Spider-Man. And unlike the title, it's not all that amazing. Now this is a reboot of the Spider-Man franchise because we had an original trilogy directed by Sam Raimi and starring Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man and Peter Parker. And this one we have Marc Webb, also very fitting name, Marc Webb directing, and Andrew Garfield starring as Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And this is a retelling of the tale of how Spider-Man got his power. So Uncle Ben is there, he dies, he tells him to be responsible, he kind of has a hard time getting to becoming Spider-Man and learns that he has to be responsible. And we have a new villain this time, which is the Lizard, who we've never seen on screen. They could have gone with the Green Goblin or any other character because it's a retelling of the tale, has nothing to do with the Sam Raimi movies. But I really do like the first two Sam Raimi movies more than this one. I feel like there's more heart to the Sam Raimi films. I also like Tobey Maguire a lot more as Peter Parker. I won't say that Tobey Maguire is the best embodiment of Spider-Man. I would definitely say that the best embodiment of Spider-Man that we've ever seen on screen is actually the 1994 TV series. That is the kind of Spider-Man that I want to see. It was perfect writing. The things that he said were exactly what Peter Parker would say, and also this humor was very Spider-Man-like. And the voice, that was the voice of Spider-Man. And when I think of Spider-Man, when I read comics of Spider-Man, I use that voice because it's the perfect voice. I don't know. It just he nails it. Whereas Tobey Maguire, he looked a little bit more the part because he filled out the suit a little bit more and he beefed up. When he got bit by the spider, you could tell that maybe there was a little bit of like a few weeks in between or something, or maybe he had just worked out because he takes off his shirt before he gets bit. And when he goes to bed, he wakes up and he looks at himself in the mirror and he's like flexing, and there's a little bit more muscle there. With Andrew Garfield, there's no muscle at all. He's my size. And if you're going to be getting paid millions of dollars, I really feel like you should beef up a little bit, because there's a scene when he's talking to, when the first time that we see him in the costume, he's waltzing around, he's like kind of dancing. And I'm like, yeah, that's not really what Spider-Man does. He makes fun of people, but he doesn't like gloat about it. So there's already that I'm not agreeing with. And then well, there's a few things that he says at the beginning when he talks to them. He's like, I'm not a cop. You think I'm a cop, really? That's Spider-Man. But when he's gloating around and dancing, I was like, yeah, that's not what Spider-Man does. And it really showed how slim he is and how he doesn't fit the costume. That you need to beef it up. It's kind of like if you have Batman and having a super slim person, it's not going to work out with the Batman suit. It can kind of work a little bit better because it's armor, so you can make the person look bigger. But Spider-Man, it's like spandex. And another thing, which is a positive, is that they actually make Peter Parker really smart, and he did research before, making the suit. So he's like, spandex is apparently the best thing to, aerodynamic, it's a lot better, you can get a lot more speed. So he went with that. But because it's spandex, you can see everything, and you can see that there's not an ounce of muscle on his body. So that I'm really kind of against. I did like the acting from Martin Sheen as Uncle Ben. I think it's Susan Sarandon as... No, it's not Susan Sarandon. Oh my goodness, what's her name? Sally Fields as Aunt May. And I thought that those picks were a lot better than the original ones, because they seem just too old and too far removed. I feel that these are a little bit better actors that they chose for this series, so I'm happy with that. I thought that the Lizard, he did an okay job, the actor, but I feel like there wasn't enough of that you cared about Dr. Connors, because that's the whole thing, is that you care about Dr. Connors, and then when he changes into Lizard, he's an evil maniac. And we don't have that. We don't have the Jekyll and Hyde syndrome here. We just have, basically Hyde. We have like an okay guy at the beginning, and then all of a sudden he becomes the Lizard, and he just becomes Hyde the entire time. And I'm just like, there's no family, there's nothing, so there's no reason for you to care for Dr. Connors. Other than that, the Lizard kind of looks a little bit weird. Spider-Man, I don't like. Like I said, I don't like him. I do like that he created his web. I like that he's a genius. He does a lot of mechanic stuff. He did all the research before he became the actual Spider-Man. But it's just, it kind of falls a little bit short of what I wanted. Still probably better than Spider-Man 3 by Sam Raimi, but the other two, they had more heart in them. But I will give Marc Webb the credit for, it feels a lot more modern, and it feels like the shots, are done a little bit nicer, and I like how Oscorp is so futuristic. I really feel that they did a good job creating the environment for Spider-Man, and the shots are done a little bit better, so you get to really get into the movie. It's just unfortunate the acting from Andrew Garfield is just not up to par, in my opinion. But I will still give it a 7 out of 10 because it's Spider-Man. There's a transport going by. I hope you didn't hear that. So it's still an enjoyable flick, just not as much as the first two Sam Raimi movies, which I very much enjoyed, or more than this. I still won't say that they're perfect. That the best Spider-Man, like I said, 1994 animated series. So thank you all for watching. You've been bearded in. Beardage.